terrorist. Here I am, here to bring trouble. Terrorist. Here I am.
Peace, what's up? It's your girl L Boogie. I'm sitting here with DJ Rob Swift, the infamous DJ. How you doing today?
Chillin' with L Boogs at Scratch Academy.
Yeah, right now we're at Scratch Academy. We're inside one of the studio spaces. There's a class going on behind us. And I caught Rob Swift for about 15-20 minutes, and we're just going to talk about everything and anything. So what are you working on right now?
Let's see. Right now, working on my next Rob Swift installment. It's going to be my 4th album. I'm kind of torn with regards to the title. I have a couple of ideas, actually more than a couple, a lot of ideas as far as titles, but the album itself is coming together really well. I'm happy with it. I'm actually, within days of finishing it, and I'm looking forward to releasing it in February of 2010. Yeah. So I'm working on that, finishing that up, and then I just have to find a home for it. Which is how I usually work. Usually I put my albums together, focus on the creative part of it, and then once I'm done, then I shop it around and try to find the best deal for it. So I'm sure all that will come together in the next couple of months.
I should start with who inspires you with your music and your creations?
I get inspiration from a lot of different avenues. Creatively, I may look towards musicians like Jimi Hendrix, Miles Davis. I may look at martial artists like Bruce Lee, let's say, or political activists like Malcolm X. Like I get inspired from people that are passionate and strive for some sort of cause, and pushing that cause and projecting that cause to people. And that's what inspires me. Obviously, there's DJs that I look up to, people like D Styles, DJ Qbert. I mean, I could go on and on about DJs that inspire me, but I get inspiration from a lot of different avenues.
Who do you find yourself listening to the most these days? Is it more modern stuff, or are you sticking to the originals?
I listen to some modern stuff only because, as a DJ, you have to keep up with the new stuff that comes out. If you don't, then it's easy for you to kind of just fall off, and you got to keep up with what the people that go out, the audiences that you spin in front of are getting into. So I listen to some modern stuff, but I still get a lot of my motivation and gratification as far as listening to music from classic hip-hop, classic jazz, yeah, classic R&B. I feel like the music that I listened to when I was coming up was just a lot more creative, and there was just a lot more talent being projected onto the music, whether it was production or singing or rapping. I feel like now things are a lot more watered down, and with technology it's just easy for anyone to just make a song these days. So although I try to keep up with the new stuff that comes out, I draw a lot of my creative motivation from older classical stuff, even classical music in itself, like Beethoven and stuff like that. I listen to.
I asked you who your influences were, so how exactly, what was your first memory of picking up a record, or what was the first time that you actually started spinning, and actually what got you going into DJing world actually?
It's a long story, but to make it short, what got me into DJing and what motivated me to want to experience, touching vinyl and scratching vinyl was watching my dad DJ parties as a young kid. My father was a DJ, and he would take my brother and I on events that he would DJ, weddings, New Year's Eve parties for friends, and we'd watch him make people dance and control people's emotions. And being that was my dad and being around it 24/7, I naturally wanted to kind of be like my father. I was fortunate also to have a brother that was into hip-hop. So these were the times where like hip-hop was in its genesis state, you know, and the culture was pure, and the creativeness was just so just unique and special, unlike the way it is now, I feel. So my brother actually taught me hip-hop DJing, you know, and what I mean by hip-hop DJing, I mean like cutting up rock records like Walk This Way and by Aerosmith and Big Beat by Billy Squier, cutting up jazz records by Bob James and Herbie Hancock. So I learned the art of DJing like pure, genuine, organic way. You know, it wasn't like I was on a laptop, or it's not like I was being exposed to it on YouTube. You know, this was, you know, I was a little kid, you know, 7, 8 years old, literally at park jams, watching, you know, teenagers b-boy, watching cats DJ, watching dudes rap. You know, I was witnessing this firsthand. So it was a huge influence on me, and you know, luckily, thankfully, I went on to make a career doing what I grew up seeing and liking, you know.
Where was this in New York, or where did you grow up seeing all this?
This was in New York. I grew up in Jackson Heights, Queens.
So you grew up there, and you live there now.
Yep, and I grew up in Jackson Heights, Queens. I could walk to the hospital where I was born. In Star Wars, there's a scene where Rocksteady crew, Crazy Legs, Devious Doze, Prince Ken Swift, and the crew, they were battling against the Dynamic Rockers, and they're battling at this roller skating rink called USA. It was called USA Roller Skating Rink. Well, I live on 82nd Street, right? And the USA Roller Skating Rink, where the battle took place, was located on 74th Street. So I live about, you know, a train stop, literally one train stop away from where that historic battle took place, where that historic movie was, a part of that movie was filmed. So don't sleep on Queens.
Well, we never sleep on Queens. Queens is the home of many, many, many amazing artists, including my favorite, Tribe Called Quest, because they are my favorite.
Well, I remember more so the early 80s part of the movement. You know, I remember, you know, it being in 1982, and as a little kid, you know, my brother is taking me to go see Wild Style at the movies, you know? So I wasn't there in the 70s when it was being created, but in the 80s there was still that remnants of it, you know. You still had Cold Crush Brothers releasing records. You still had cats like Red Alert on the radio cutting it up, and Chuck Chill Out and Marley Marl. So that was the generation that I was more so directly influenced by. But
it's still a good generation.
It's still a good generation, and you know, you compare it to what is going on now. I feel like, as far as like, excuse me, as far as like schools like the Scratch DJ Academy, I feel like this is the closest to teaching people, young, old, you know, the true essence of it. You know, I got taught the true essence of it, you know, firsthand, and this is, in my opinion, the closest to that, because again, now what people have are, you know, computers and websites and you know, social networks, where you're emailing each other, you know, footage, but you're not really there to see it and witness it in person, you know. So, you know, it's definitely like for me, I think I'm glad that I was able to really be exposed to the art in its most purest form, and I think that's why I've had the longevity that I've had, because I was taught the right way.
Right, and that's good, and the most pure way. All right, so that was DJ Rob Swift, who was kind enough to give me about 15 minutes of his time. Right now there's a class that's about to walk in, but I'm going to walk out and watch him do his thing. So with that, this has been an El Boogie production. DJ Rob Swift, do you have anything else to say?
Look for the album. Peace.
Peace.
Yo, what up? This is DJ Rob Swift, represent Ill Insanity Executioners, straight from Jackson Heights, Queens, New York City. And you're checking out my girl El Boogie's Journal. Word up.
Here I am. Here to bring trouble.